so we grow. Using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Into the live, okay?
All right, thanks. Okay. Hello, this is Gilbert Buchanan, your co-host on the Business Zone.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal. And Gilbert had already introduced himself, and Gilbert Buchanan.
I cannot hear myself. What is going on?
Gilbert's having some technical difficulties, guys, but that's all right. That's just the way it is when you're online.
Man, I couldn't hear myself at all. Holy moly.
And there you have it. And we have our other sidekick. We're going to have
our field correspondent.
He's going to be in the studio today. So I'm going to go ahead and let him in. Hey, field correspondent.
I feel like I got strip search coming in here.
You know, we hear you have some dangerous weapons, man, so we have to search you.
I got patted down like a criminal, man. I'm trying to asking for my ID, asking for the email, and I think I have a Restream account, so it's like, well, that's invalid. I'm like, okay, so I just bypass and. Oh man!
But you saw what happened at the federal government level this week, right? We have a young 21-year-old National Guard that kind of let in the secrets, let in foreigners to the Pentagon. So there you go. All security had to go into activation today for everybody.
Man, they got all kinds of crazy all over the place, huh?
I was like, wait a minute, I'm light skinned. I'm supposed to get a break.
No breaks.
I guess light skinned dudes are not in anymore, man.
You still identify, so yeah, you up against the wall. Oh man.
Yes.
So I ended up having to go through the other email account. So you sent me the invite on this email, but I had to go through my other email in order to get in in here. Yeah,
okay.
I think because that one is already. I think I already set up the business email under Restream, and I haven't set up the account yet. But I told you I was going to set up my own Restream account.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it just wasn't letting me in under my regular Gmail. It was like, oh, you guys are kidding me, you know?
Yeah, they're going. We do not recognize this identity.
But that's okay. Gilbert was having problems too, and he gets to come in every week.
You know, they're making sure, man. They're double checking our security clearances, man, to make sure we're authorized.
The only thing left was the strip search. I was like,
extra security today.
Extra security, man. Well,
and we talking about financial literacy.
Talking about money. That's what it is, right?
We talking money, man. We talking
bank level security.
That's why.
when you're talking money, this is the ultimate level of wokeness.
This is PCI compliance at its best, man. I want to make sure.
The ultimate level of wokeness.
And when you're dealing with a human being, you know, you can just slip them a 20, you know, they let you in. But with the machines, like, nah. We don't take cash.
AI said, we do not recognize this identity.
Right. Exactly. Artificial intelligence. I tell you what my definition of artificial intelligence is, right?
What?
Congress.
Especially now.
See that is not artificial,
right?
That's not artificial intelligence. That's moronic intelligence, man. That's what that is.
Moronic intelligence.
There was a conversation that went on with on CNN yesterday, and you guys know what's the congressman? I can't remember his name, but he has the eye patch.
Oh Lord.
I don't remember what his name is, but he has the eye patch, right?
We'll
And
just
so,
call him the pirate for today.
right, that guy. And so the Adrian was on CNN. She's asked him a question about the shooting in with the children in is it Tennessee? Yeah, no. What was the children the recent one? Was that Tennessee with a baby?
I think it was Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah. Louisville, Kentucky. So
Oh,
she
Kentucky.
was saying to him, about the guns, right, and the protests and the and we have to put some sort of controls in. So his idea was we needed to have more children. We need to have more armed guards. And she goes, but we have armed guards you don't think we have armed guards at schools already? And he's like, no, we need more armed guards. And she's trying to figure out, what are you talking about?
That shows how disconnected these guys are, man.
No, they want to arm the teachers.
They want to arm and she kept going on, and she kept saying, but wait a minute, since Columbine, they have armed guards at schools. And he's saying, well, you would not have that if you had more armed guards. And she kept trying to come at him, and he's going, yeah, like at when you're at federal buildings, you have armed guards. When you're here, you have armed guards. When you're here, and she's going, but schools have armed guards. That didn't stop anything. And finally she goes, okay, let's just move to another topic.
That is crazy.
It was like, okay, I guess I am just talking. I don't know who I'm talking to, but whatever it is, we are not connecting.
That is so crazy.
So, it's just one of those things nowadays.
Yeah, one of those things.
One of those things.
So today, folks, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Today, we're talking about finance. This is Financial Literacy Month for small businesses, and we'll be talking about finance today, guys. So, what we're going to do is ask those of you who are just tuning in for the first time to go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Don't have to cost you anything. You don't have to pay anything. Just hit the subscribe button so we can send you weekly notification of the shows and our upcoming guests. And on the screen, there is a QR code. You can just take your smartphone, if it's still smart, and just zero in the camera lens on that code. Click on it, and it should take you to the YouTube page where you can do your subscription. Or, I don't like that word subscription. It sounds like we're asking for money.
It doesn't cost you any money.
You see what I'm saying?
Click that button so you'll be notified every time we come on.
Yeah. There you go.
And I'm already subscribed. See, I'm already subscribed. There you go.
See how easy it is right there?
Yeah, simple. Yeah, just hit that button so that you know when we're on, and you can and you always have accessibility to the Business Zone. So that's what we're asking. We need your support. So we're talking about my favorite conversation.
That's right.
Greg's favorite conversation, and Gilbert's favorite conversation. And it really should be your favorite conversation.
It should be too.
Because there is nothing in this world that is free. So therefore, it should be everyone's favorite conversation. And it should be, how do you keep more money in your pocket, manage that money, and not always have to chase that money? That's
That's
what it
right.
should be, right?
That's right. If you're not making money in your business, you're not in business, guys. You're running a hobby.
Right, exactly. And even in your personal life, you shouldn't have to be stressed out about money. And I have a little message that's running on the bottom. It says money doesn't buy you happiness, but the lack of money certainly buys you a lot of misery.
That's right. That's right.
I like to say, if money doesn't buy you happiness, but it sure helps.
it,
That is
it
true.
certainly it has a direct effect on my personality. I don't know about you guys, but let somebody start messing with my money and my money don't start coming in, and you will see a direct effect about me and my money. I'm
I
no
hear
longer
that.
a happy, cheery person.
I hear that.
So we're going to talk about financial literacy today. So how you guys this week been before we jump on into this lovely conversation in this wonderful month of financial literacy?
Well, my week. How was my week? I don't even remember, man. I've been busy doing all kinds of reports and help setting up small. GLAC, the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce. We had our last class on Wednesday, which is a business evolution program for entrepreneurs, teaching them how to become business ready, contract ready, and funding ready. So we had that session on Wednesday. We're looking for you, Crystal. Didn't see you at all. So people were shouting out, say, yeah, thanks to all my coaches. I want to thank Gilbert Buchanan and I want to thank Crystal. I'm looking around going, where's Crystal? Is she
I don't
making
think
a
I
is,
I
is
don't
she
think I
making a secret entrance?
I don't think I got on anything. I had no link or anything for that on Wednesday.
Yeah, that was her last class,
Oh yeah,
So
no, they asked for the report, but nobody sent me
yeah.
a link.
I wish I had known. I would have
Yeah,
sent
no,
you
nobody
that.
sent me a link to come on. And with my schedule, I don't be chasing nobody down. You gotta say if it ain't on my calendar, you can bet I won't know about it. So no, I didn't have a link. I know Naomi, is that her name?
Yeah, Naomi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Naomi had asked me over the week before if I could get my notes in, and I had sent my notes to her and on that Sunday night, but she never sent me a link to show up there.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
can't come somewhere I don't have notes. I don't have a link.
You can't come somewhere where they didn't
They
invite you, huh?
didn't invite me. You got to invite me. It's not like I could just show up.
my mom used to say this when we were kids, because we used to like to go to the neighbor's house, hang out with their kids.
Uh-huh.
My mom used to say, "Listen, where no bones are what's she say? Where no bones are provided, no dogs are invited. Don't you go to people's house." Say, okay, mom.
And you don't show up without an invite.
Yeah, exactly. Because as kids, you're always going to the neighbor's house, even especially when it's dinner time. You go, okay, we're gonna have some dinner over here.
Right,
She
exactly.
say, none of that. We don't do that here.
Right. And on Zoom, you can't even crash because you'll be just sitting there in the waiting room waiting for the host to let you in, and you won't even have the right invite. So I never got
That's
an invite. So I'm so sorry I wasn't there. They forgot to send me the invite.
I hear you, man. So, our field correspondent, how was your week, sir?
I had a busy week. I I went to an annuity conference. I'm just connected with a new group that provides a lot of marketing services for annuities and life insurance, but they predominantly focus on annuities
That
and
sounds
also
like fun.
managed finances. And so it was in San Diego, and it
Mm.
started Tuesday. So I left Tuesday morning. I drove down Tuesday and had to get ahead of the traffic. So I was up at 0 dark 30
Yeah.
Tuesday, and got down there. Got down there early, so I had enough time to grab breakfast. The conference didn't start till 10, and I was able to get to San Diego in under 2 hours.
What?
Oh,
Man, you
nice.
must be driving 95 miles an hour.
No, I left at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I got ahead of that traffic in Orange County. So I got enough time to have breakfast and attended a good conference. Then we had dinner. Then the guys were going to the bar, and I left early. But I thought everybody was wrapping up. Everybody said, "Oh, you left early," and then it continued Wednesday. So then I got back Wednesday evening, and then trying to catch up on work stuff yesterday. So it was a good conference, and it was great information.
Yeah.
And I've got access now to some marketing resources there, and they have people that shop the market. It's like we met this guy Josh, and all he does is shop, product and annuities, and becomes an expert on it. So now I don't have to be a product expert. I just have to find, individuals that are looking for, what's your goals, what's your strategy, how much is it?
Yeah.
And then I give it to the team, and then they research and says, okay, here's option 1, 2, and 3, and you discuss with the client, and then they help with the with the business too. So it's a great win-win. And I've had access to a number of these marketing organizations, and you're chasing, shiny objects, and I've been going through it. These guys seem like they really have their stuff together.
That's cool. Is it? I know we are all trying to get back into what we call a normality. So was it normal or just kind of pseudo normal? With people coming back together in a live kind of setting again.
Oh no, it was like back to normal, like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
Oh, okay.
So no, it was totally fine, and it was good. So they offer a lot of good services and tremendous access to product. So and you don't have to I don't have to memorize all the different ins and outs of these different companies, because it's got maybe 45 to 50 different companies that they can research, and they have some favorites. They have some ones that where rates are really good. Rates have come up now, as interest rates went up for borrowers, they've also gone up for savers. So it's a great time now for savers. And they started talking about MIGAs. And when I first heard it, I thought MAGA, right? So I'm thinking MIGA. But MIGAs are multi-year guaranteed annuities. And so what they are is that you get a fixed rate, and it's guaranteed for either 3 years, 5 years, 7, and the rates have come up phenomenally now. I mean, so we're talking about 5.5%, 6%, and in some cases they got some that are going to do 7 or 8%.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And the rate's guaranteed.
Okay. All right.
So there's some good stuff out there. Some of them have some minimums. So there was one great product, but you had to have a minimum of $75K to open an account.
Okay.
So this is people with got some money, but it was interesting. They were talking about how we'll talk about financial literacy, how folks are just afraid sometimes to know. It'd be surprising to know how many people have CDs, not compact discs, the certificate of
But however,
I got albums, I got cassettes, and
but however, that's not as funny as we think, because again, that's what we're talking about, financial literacy, right? And some people don't know what CDs are.
Certificates of deposit that are offered by a bank institution, and you put money there, and if you don't touch it, then it just renews.
Yes. So,
and some of them are 6 months, some of them 1 year, 2 years, and they have individuals they're getting like 1.5%. They had this one woman that had $150,000 just sitting in a CD, and it's been rolling over for 10 years.
Wow.
In 6 months intervals, because she didn't know just what else to do with it.
Now, did the rates change over the years, or did?
Well, rates were under 1% at one point in time, but
Right.
it was safe. You weren't going to lose any money, and that's the problem. A lot of folks are afraid of losing money, and and not really concerned about losing out on money. So in her case, she's losing out on interest, but she's not losing any money. So it was a safety thing.
So our base money is still there. It's just the interest keep modifying.
Yeah. So right, exactly. So she was getting very minimal interest, and I think she was at maybe 1.5%, 1.5%. So they were able to say, okay, guaranteed rate, and she was going to get 5.45. So 5 times or 4 times the amount of interest, and no risk. And it's money that, this is a nice thing too, where folks have that kind of money that they don't need. It's just there. I really don't need it. It's just there just in case. And so it was good. It was a good learning experience and good, access. This is the type of access that, folks with major money have. And we need to bring that to our community. So that's my role, is that if folks have funds from a 401k or IRA, they can put it into a product, an annuity product, and have peace of mind. They don't have to worry about what the market's doing. It's going to be there. So that's a great thing.
And since Silicon Valley Bank craze went down, there are a lot of people, especially those like football players. I think there was a football player that just completely panicked, especially with the FDIC $250,000 guarantee. He just started taking his money, and he had lots of it, obviously, because he had a million plus dollar contract, and he was dividing up all his money and putting $250,000 in multiple banks, and I think the owner of the team's like, no, you can't do that, dude, but didn't really tell him what other what other products that he could put his money in, which is, again, like, who's advising these guys, right? There are so many other products that you could put your money in besides just the bank, right?
Well, it's and you bring up a good point, because the financial advisors
right
are generally working with investment products, okay,
right,
where there is market loss, but the majority of them aren't necessarily working with fixed rate or indexed annuities. They might work with variable annuities, which is still in the marketplace, but there are options. And those rates were pretty low, 2, 3, 4 years ago, but now they've come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a great option and opportunity for people to still get, good growth and not have to risk about, losing anything. And in many cases get guarantees that whatever you put there is going to be there, and then you get a guaranteed rate. So it is just information, and just but those investors, or those high-end guys we're working with, they get paid what they call managed money. So we can chat about that. That's managed money, where the advisor pays charges a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And that fee can be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5% of the money you have yearly.
Right. Exactly. So they're gonna, and there's probably some other little kickback somewhere for them, some other advantages for them, for you not to be moving your money all over the place, all willy-nilly, that they're not going to get any percentages of wherever your money is going. So yeah, don't be out there don't be out there being a freelancer with your money.
Really, where just like you don't go to a doctor that does everything. It's right. The same thing in the financial space, where the market has become complicated enough and I was going to say the word segregated, but compartmentalized, right, where you've got certain brands of products. Your insurance and annuity products are in one group, and then your investment products are being handled with another group, and they don't really cross over. Some people do, but it's a great opportunity to have access to funds where you're not going to be at risk, but the people who are doing managed funds aren't necessarily going to introduce them to that, because those are more commission based and not fee based. So they make more off of the fees than they do on a commission base. So
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to one of my new associates. Her name is Oneida Franco. She runs the company. She's a CFO for a company called Social Glass, which is a procurement platform. And my company is thinking of teaming up with her. So, Oneida, welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.
Hi,
And
Oneida.
Social Glass.
Social Glass. So Oneida, if you want to put in the chat a little bit about Social Glass, so that uh, um, my team can understand a little bit what you do, and also our audience can understand a little bit about what you do, that would be great too. So just put it in the chat, okay? And welcome to the Business Zone.
Hey, Mr. Fernando, your family's good. How you doing? We here talking about our favorite subject and how to manage and keep our monies and let our monies work for us as opposed to us working hard for our monies. So we
And
got our field correspondent on the other side. He's not in the chat today. He's on the other side with us talking about all of our favorite topics today.
that's right. That's right. And as you know, small businesses, that's their Achilles heel. They are afraid to talk about or look at, discuss, take a peek at their financials. So that's why my co-host, Crystal Mitchell, is so popular in that space, because they reach out to her and say, "Hey, I'm afraid of this. I don't know. I don't know what a CD is. Can you tell me?" So that's why we're here today, to provide some education in the financial space, guys.
And I wanted, so this week I had an interesting and I know Greg runs into this, Gilbert, you run into this as well, especially in the our businesses in the Black communities and other minority communities. We're not exactly exposed to that rich mindset and that information of knowledge been passed down for generations. What the heck? Wait a minute. What's going on with my stuff?
Hey man, that's the devil.
Wait a minute. We just went. What happened here?
Whatever you touch, something you touch.
I didn't touch anything.
Your microphone, maybe. There's some reverb.
Is it me?
Go ahead and take care of that. While it looks like it stopped. Go ahead and speak, Crystal. Let me hear you.
Okay, that better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, all right. So we don't always have that mindset of business and how to scale our business, right? We think of our business of working in the business and that we have to manage every aspect of our business, and we really don't think about how do we step back from business and bring in individuals to help us run the business, right?
That's right.
So I ran into a couple this weekend this week that has an amazing business, and at first when trying to connect with them, I was going, what the heck is happening here, because I was having challenges. And then when I got to the facility, because I actually got to meet them and see the facility, and I was very, very impressed. But however, they were working in the business, not on the business, right? And then when I started asking some questions on the vision of the business, there was this very small vision, and then one had a very small vision, one had a very big vision, but then no direction on how they were going to get to that big vision.
Yeah.
And so and it really, really got me to thinking when I realized we were going to talk about financial literacy, is how important this conversation is for our business owners. How do you get to that big vision? And I know Greg and I talked about one of his clients earlier last week on, what happens if something happens to your family makeup if you don't plan for the future, right? Just
Yeah.
assuming that it's going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
That, just hoping for the best.
Yeah. It doesn't work that way at all.
Just hoping that it don't turn out, that nightmare that's lingering in the background doesn't actually happen, but it's
Yeah.
just waiting. The bomb is ticking,
Yeah.
waiting to happen. And then when it happens, they're going to come to Greg and ask him to fix it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to trust in the Lord, right? Okay, well, the Lord didn't send me.
Right, exactly.
I had a client that actually said that to me. I said, how are you going to provide sales in the business? Oh, don't worry about it. The Lord is on my team. I said, did you make the Lord your vice president of sales? Is that how it's going to work?
Right, exactly. So it's like, whoa, okay, is that how we doing business today? Boy, the Lord got big. He got to sit on a whole lot of boards.
Exactly.
So
So
anyway,
go ahead. I
Gilbert.
was gonna say, so Mr. Greg Sneed is gonna provide us some real neat nuggets on how to manage that financials and what to look at and some of the key factors which is pretty simple to help your small businesses move along. So Mr. Sneed, Crystal, did you want to do the honors of introducing
Well,
or
actually, we're gonna kick off first with our commercial, and then
okay.
we're gonna jump into our whole presentation. So we're doing class and session, everyone,
Class
today.
in session,
And
baby.
it's all about financial literacy, and in honor of the classes of financial literacy month, we're doing our part. So here we go. Let's do first our best app for business management and for procurement and taking care of your business finances, which is real important.
and just so you guys know, folks, this platform is developed by myself. It took me 16 years to develop this platform. It's called Small Biz Pro, and it's designed for small businesses to help small businesses become business ready, contract ready, funding ready, and also nonprofit ready. So take it away, co-host.
All right, let's rock it.
Do you have a tool that organizes your company's paperwork and takes care of all your record keeping? Does your current record-keeping system send you 90-day alerts to remind you that your key documents are about to expire and need to be renewed? Can you find contracts and procurement opportunities in seconds from any of the 50 United States so you can grow your business? Is your business organized so that you can tell which key documents are needed to efficiently run the business? How about woman-owned, small business, or disadvantaged business enterprise certifications? Do you have a checklist of all the key documents you need to become certified? Does your current system allow you to conduct market research from multiple...
Oh.
Come on. Google. Oh, man.
Just not going to happen today,
yeah,
huh?
it's not
just
gonna go.
okay. Well, anyway, Gilbert, that is Gilbert's product. Gilbert, you wanna
Oh, yes. So this platform, folks, was designed to help small businesses to be in the ready mode at all times. Too many procurement sessions, contract pre-bid sessions that I've gone to with small businesses, and they did not appear to be ready. Contract providers will ask them for certain key documents, your financials, balance sheet, profit and loss, statement of cash flow. Do you know your ratios? They don't have any of that. They don't even know about that. So by creating this platform, it helps them to learn a lot more about the financial aspect of their business so they can be, and also the back office, business plan, contracts, all of that, so they can be in a ready position at all times. So this platform will help you, it will provide assistance where at least 3 people could be doing that job. So like my co-host Crystal said, instead of getting your 3 people, you get Small Biz Pro, and that will take care of your 3 additional employees.
Yeah, there you go. You start now so that you're starting to work on your business, not in your business, with your first 3 people, and you don't even have to pay them.
That's right. That's right.
You pay for Small Biz Pro, but you don't have to pay for them. So
That's
now
right.
we are going to kick off financial literacy and how it really, really can change your life. It helps you rethink and think about your life in a different way. There's a quote right here. When we think about financial freedom, we think about how your passive income really exceeds your expenses, but it also changes. It's a mindset. It's about increasing your financial knowledge and the skills that you develop, and also how do you manage your money through budgeting, investing, and borrowing, paying your taxes, understanding taxation, and managing your own money. And being financial illiterate means not having any of these skills. And I personally think that these skills, or the lack of these skills, is passed down through family generations. Some of us have parents that were very skillful at these skills, and some of us did not. I used to laugh because my mother was able to take, I don't know how she did it. And Gilbert, you and I talked about this, but my mother, she was able to manage some money like nobody, like no one that I knew existed. She had very little, but I never knew that she had very little because we did not appear to seem like we lacked.
She was a CFO of the house.
She was the CFO of the house. She was the controller of the house. But and I don't know how she did it, but we managed to be able to live. I never remember ever. In fact, here's the thing with my mother. When we lived with my father, there was always threat of us being put in the streets and lights being turned off. When we lived with my mother, there was never threats of us being put in the streets or lights being turned off. Now, I don't know. My father made far more money than my mother did, but I don't understand how that happened, but I never felt like we were about to be put in the streets. So I don't know about y'all, but my mother was she was very good at managing money.
You know how Jesus fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread? Well, it's the same thing with mothers, man. They can take $50, man. They'll buy furniture, they'll buy food, they'll give you lunch money, they'll take care of everything with that $150.
How about your household, Greg?
So it's the same thing. Moms, and the area we grew up, you had to stretch a dollar.
Yeah.
And it was funny. You could tell what type of home somebody, grew up in based on whether they turn the lights off or not. You go to the side, they got the lights on everywhere. They grew up in a house with I don't care how good, how much money I was making. If I wasn't in the room, the lights turned off. It's like I can't.
Right, exactly. So you knew, right? But yeah, so that's what I remember about childhood. When my mom divorced my father and we moved to the West Coast, we never seemed to be under a threat of being put out in the snow. Before divorce, it seemed like we were always in threat of being put out in Buffalo in sub-below zero. That's what I remember about being a child.
We didn't starve, but there wasn't an abundance of food and stuff. And if you were hungry, I remember Mom getting 2 pieces of white bread, putting some butter, and just sprinkling some sugar on it, and that was the sandwich.
Right. And they made things like that. Like I remember, things like on the weekends you would have a beans and wieners, but it was a treat, right? They made things like that a treat. So you didn't know that it was like, okay, that was the end of the budget, right? So you weren't aware of that.
That was the Secretary of Finance there, huh?
He's like, oh no. I think that teaches you some things, about that, and I think some of it for me came naturally. My mother tells the story that I must have been about 8 years old or something, and we went out somewhere, and I saw something I wanted, and I said, "Oh, Mom, I'm going to get this," and she says, "Well, where's your allowance?" Well, so I left it home,
Oh.
and thinking she's going to buy it for me, right? So I
Yeah.
said, "Oh." So she says, "Well, I can buy it for you, but when we get home, it's going to have to come out of your allowance." She said, I stood there for a moment, picked up, pondered for a little bit, and said, "You know what? That's okay. I'll go without."
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
when it kind of come out your pocket, it's a whole different ball game, right?
Right. My sister was just the opposite. She would get allowance, but we get allowance on Sunday, and it was supposed to last the week, right?
yeah.
And by Monday, Tuesday, hers was gone.
Oh Lord.
But I do remember, and I don't think that happens too much today, that we did get an allowance, but allowance was just not something they handed out to you. You had to earn that money. You had to have chores, right? You
Yeah.
didn't just get that. At least in my household, you didn't just get that money just because. You
Yeah.
had to have chores. You had to keep your room clean. You had to clean the kitchen. It just wasn't doled out just because.
Well, we got lunch. So maybe I should say it was lunch money. So we would get, and I'm going to tell my age now. It was a quarter, just so that you could get. I remember a slice of pizza was 15 cents. Okay.
Oh.
You can get a patty and a cocoa bread for 15 cents at
Oh yeah, I remember that.
the bakery on Franklin Avenue. So, but I think you're right. That you learn from family, you learn from parents.
Mhm.
Those are the challenges. I talk about couples where you have let's say a husband and wife, or you got to be politically correct now, husband and husband, wife and wife. Okay.
Oh Lord.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, family components are different than they used to be when we were
Different
growing up.
dynamics. Yeah.
Different dynamics, yeah.
You'll have a spender and a saver,
Mm-hmm.
or a saver and a spender.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have two savers or two spenders.
Yes.
Both of my parents were both savers. Neither one of them were spendthrifts.
Wow.
Ah, okay.
So I think that has a lot to do with it too. When you have both, again, both partners, if they're both spenders, then that's where you can run into trouble, because you're spending what you have come in. I mean, back then there was no credit card back then.
Yeah.
No.
There was no debt. So if you didn't have the money, you did you either went without or you did layaway.
It's amazing that you mentioned that, Greg, because if we should go back and study all of the people who got divorced, you will probably find that those couples who were spender would probably be the ones who get divorced versus one who is a spender and one is a saver, or two savers. You see what I'm saying?
They have a prayer. If you have a spender and a spare, that does just do them. But you also have an issue with when you have somebody who is a saver, but the other is a spender. So it could be the income earner that is also a spender.
Right,
but it could be the income earner is a saver, but the spouse is going out shopping all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Great success when you have both parties are savers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's fundamentally you're polar opposites, and so you're gonna have money is always one of the biggest issues in a relationship anyway, right?
Yeah.
And if you have fundamentally two different philosophies, you're gonna have problems.
Yes.
So it's interesting that Bernard Kinsey, there's the art collection. He's his collection at SoFi now. When he started working, he is working and the wife was working. They banked her salary completely, so they lived just off of his. So everything that she made went in the bank for savings.
Wow.
So you had two individuals there that were both savers. They were both of the mindset of spending money from an early, from an early standpoint. So that couple can lead to success, and doesn't need the financial. They have the sort of financial literacy built in.
Yeah.
those who are most in need of it, when just as Gilbert said, when you've got those two spenders, then you need that intervention. You need somebody to come in to kind of work with the mindset of why are you spending? What are you looking to? Usually there's the psychological issue behind it. Sometimes it's just not knowing, but there's also there's something psychological. Why do you feel that you've got to spend $15,000 on a purse?
Right, exactly. Then you're filling some other need, but you're absolutely right, Greg. I think a long time ago, I have many friends that were very successful because, that the wife's salary was used as the savings, which really set up their emergency fund, right?
That's right.
And I had a girlfriend, her husband, he paid for the household, he paid for all the household expenses. Her salary they saved for vacation, right? Emergency fund, savings, and allocated for vacations and how the children's fund, right? Educational fund. His took care of the household, but everybody's money had an allocation.
Yeah.
As opposed to, okay, half of it, we're going to split the household fund, but nothing ever really got to the emergency fund or ever got to vacation funds because everything was being divvied up in one space. So it wasn't clear on, really clear definitions of where it was. And I think when you're not, then you're not really prepared for financial problems when they arise and financial emergencies, and it can suck up, your regular daily mortgages and insurance payments, your regular expenses that have to take place.
Yeah.
So
That's
not a
true.
bad idea, the way, like you said, Bernard Kinsey's, because he had the bigger income. Generally, the male had the bigger income. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it really doesn't have. But in today's world, it's important to know how to handle money because we got student loans, we got mortgages and credit cards and investment and health insurance and everything is tied to your personal credit. So if something falls apart, it falls apart. And then things like what Greg sells or your insurance. The reason I used to be in the financial services as well before I got into the accounting management part of financial management. I did what you did, Greg. But one of the things I found out when money and money starts to become critical, the first thing that gets cut is it's fine. Insurance products are the first things that get cut.
Yeah.
A trainer that said it's the second thing that gets cut.
What's the first thing?
The mistress or the girlfriend.
Oh, well, yeah. The side piece, you mean?
Side piece is the first thing to get cut. Insurance is second.
well, they're supposed to be cut. They weren't supposed to be in the equation anyway.
But you're absolutely right. Insurance is one of those things where, in fact, I was just recorded some videos this week on insurance, and that's exactly it. The people believe, the risk doesn't go away. It's just that you're banking on a calamity or a disaster not happening.
Yeah, exactly.
You're rolling the dice.
You're rolling the dice. So there are components of financial literacy, and so one is budgeting, which everyone hates to do. Um, Making money, making sure your money is working for you, establishing your credit because you do have to have credit in this world. In fact, when our parents were growing up and when we were growing up, I don't know if so much emphasis was put on credit as it is today. Our personal credit, I don't believe, was as tied into everything that we do when we were growing up as it is today, because your credit score follows you everywhere you go today.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think?
That's true. I agree. Totally agree, man.
No credit score back then. In fact, credit score, a formalized credit score, really didn't start until '88. With FICO, and FICO was the fair Isaac.
Fair Isaac credit scoring.
Right. And it was two guys. It was some guy named Fair and the last name something Isaac.
Yeah.
And they created an algorithm to look at credit back in 1958. And it just didn't really become formalized through these credit unions back in 80.
So 30 years later, huh?
Yeah.
30 years later.
I'm
Dang.
going to you saw me looking up, right? And it was a spider on the ceiling.
Oh.
I kept looking for the spider, right? Looking for it right now. And then I looked up and it's disappeared.
Uh-oh. Did he fall down on top of you?
It's probably on the back of your shirt, man.
No, he's actually, I have two keyboards. He's actually on the keyboard between the 2 and 3 key. I'm about to go off camera and mic for a minute to take care of this spider. So
all right, you do that then.
I'll be right back.
All right.
In the meantime, we'll take care of some financial stuff.
Right,
here, so.
exactly. So the components of financial literacy is excuse me, budgeting, which is really understanding how much income versus how much expenses, how much money you're bringing in and how much money is going out of, and understanding what that looks like on a month-to-month basis, and making sure you have enough income coming in every month and enough income to cover your expenses that are going out every month. So making sure you have more money in the month than you have than coming in than you have going out. So, but most of us have more month than we have we have more month of expenses than we have more money in the month. So generally the way it is. There's far more month than there is money. The other is investing, and most of us do not understand investing. Most people do not understand investing, but there's some amazing apps out there that really make it really easy. And at the end of this presentation, I have some tools that will help. Borrowing, boy, is that a hard lesson to learn. It starts at college level because that's when you have the best credit in the world, and every credit card company in the world knows that you have great credit at that time, or you are brand new to credit, and they just hand out credit cards like they candy, and you get your all of your what do they give you when you go to college? I mean, besides your student loans, you get all of your because I was just talking about that with a young lady, and your book, your what is that they give you?
Stipend. It's like a stipend.
Your stipend, and you go use that money for something that has nothing to do with school.
Yeah.
and so you buying the outfits for the club and all that sort of stuff, and the next thing you know, you are deep in debt before you get out of college. So learning how to borrow, pay your bills on time, understanding how, and there's a secret to that. I tell my clients how to do that when in a business, as long as you get your payment in before the 31st day, and make sure you always are in communication with your debtors. They will not give you that ding, and you can keep your credit in stellar condition. Taxation, making sure that you're accounting for all of your deductions. And then personal financial management, and Greg is going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about personal credit versus business credit. And those are the components of financial literacy. And most people, 66% of the population knows nothing about these components, right? They kind of learn about it in an abstract way. Generally, they learn about it in that abstract way when they're in lots of trouble. When they've already messed it up and they need to buy a house, they need a car. As I saw somebody in Reddit the other day, or somebody posted on Facebook, they said, I have a 400 FICO score, and they had $4,000. They wanted to know what kind of car did they think that they could get. Somebody said, maybe you should consider a bus pass.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And go back to the drawing board and start saving and get your credit fixed. So, Gilbert, you want to talk about credit?
Oh yes. As a matter of fact, you guys touched on it a little bit. You guys talked about the credit scoring and the reporting. So one of the things that existing businesses have over a startup business is the fact that they have established credit, that they have a financial history. So because they have that history, and if it's in good standing, it puts them in a better position to be able to obtain funding from a lender. So many folks who are just starting up, if you're just a brand new entrepreneur on the marketplace, they're going to look at your personal credit as opposed to your business credit. There's a difference between personal credit and business credit. Just like Greg and Crystal just mentioned, for the business credit, they're looking at your FICO score. But for the personal credit, they're looking at your FICO score. For the business credit, they look at your business credit score. And that's one that's done through Dun and Bradstreet. So with the FICO score, I think your score goes up to like 845 or something like that. But with the business credit score, your business score goes up to 100. So it's from 1 to 100. If you were at 75, but anywhere between 75 and 100, you're in very good standing. So let's say you're at about 76. 76 is equivalent to a 740 or 750 FICO score. So just to give you a little idea if you're a business owner. So these are things, guys, that you want to think about as an entrepreneur in the business space. Now, I know many of you are going to say, I don't need money. I got my own money to spend in the business. That's the worst thing you can ever do. You don't want to spend your money, folks. You want to spend other people's money. OPM, OPM, other people's money. All right. So in order to do that, if you're in good standing, good business credit standing, then you can go to bank or different funders and ask them for a line of credit. You don't really want a loan. You want a line of credit. And then when you pay back on that line of credit, because you're not paying the full amount, you're just paying interest and a small amount towards a principal. So when you do that, then you're paying in on your credit and you're building your credit as you go. Now, you might ask, how do I build my credit as a business? Well, one of the first things you may want to look at is certain stores who provide supplier credit, or they may provide you supplier credit cards for your business. And one of those stores would be Office Depot. Staples used to be one of those. I think Costco is one of those stores you can use towards business credit. Home Depot is one of those. Lowe's. So if you purchase stuff from those establishments and you pay back on their credit cards, then those credit cards gets reported to Dun & Bradstreet, and it helps to build your credit. It's amazing, Crystal. I got a call. I've been getting all these phone calls from lenders all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, why are these people calling me? I never applied for any credit. Oh, we check your Dun & Bradstreet score, and your score is 76. And I'm going, what? I don't even remember, doing any business with any of these credit providers. But they're telling me my score is great. So I'm going, so they're saying, oh, you can get up to $300,000 in loan. I'm going, really? Wow. So those are things, guys, that you want to look at. You start getting those calls, you're in good standing. You're not getting any calls, you might want to start looking at building that credit.
And it's kind of easy. I years ago I got called in to a client. They had been in a financial mess, and their vendors. Their vendors could tell right away when there was a new bookkeeper that came in and was fixing and paying their bills on time, because they
Yeah.
had really had a problem, right? So
Right.
I had got everything paid, everything current, and for like 3 to 6 months they could see there was a pattern, right? Bills
Yeah.
would come in, it was paid within that 30 days. It was a real pattern for 6 months. So they start calling to the facility going, did you guys get something happened? Did something change? Right. So we got their and we changed the monitoring on their Dun and Bradstreet. So it went, their rating went up.
Yes.
So when all of a sudden they too start getting calls for individuals that wanted to give them more credit. And so um and I remember, so one of their board members had a different kind of mindset about credit. They thought that, oh, we'll just get more credit to pay off old debt.
Oh Lord.
And so they just kept doing that. It's like, no, that's not why would you do that.
Yeah.
You don't get new credit
To
to
take
pay
care of
off old
folks.
debt. So, but it changed so rapidly because we did. It was much easier to change the status it's much easier to change the status in a business credit position than it
Yeah.
is on your personal credit. Actually,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
just have to really just be very diligent within a 6 month a 6 month to a year
Right.
status, and make sure that you're paying your creditors or your vendors within that time frame. and
Yeah.
and I always tell people, if you make sure you pay within that 30-day period, it changes rapidly.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's very, very important. And even on your personal credit, you just make
Yeah.
sure, and you don't leave your creditors hanging. Make phone calls. Just keep an open communication, because things do happen. Keep an open communication. But if you ignore them and
Yeah.
don't call them and don't tell them what's going on, they just think you're a deadbeat.
Right.
And then that's when they just start, dinging you all over the place and reporting you to all of your credit agencies, and then it's
Yeah,
much
they're
harder,
geared up for that. Mm-hmm.
right?
Same thing with IRS. If you owe money that, if the IRS starts, well, first of all, the IRS doesn't, the first thing they're doing is they're sending a letter.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that they call that often. So I think the next step is they show up, or they start garnishing
Yeah.
your pay, or your banker, or putting liens on your account. So as long as you're communicating with them, same thing with creditors. As long as you're saying, hey, I've got some cash flow. I owe you, I owe you $1,000. I've got 200. And then and here's, I'm working on getting you the rest. At least if you're making efforts to work it out, then they'll give you some grace, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mama Cheesecake has a question about incorporating.
Yeah, she
She,
says, if you're not incorporated, don't they still use your personal? And Fernando came back and said, if you're not incorporated, yes, because now you are you're operating as a sole prop. So if you're a
yeah.
sole prop, then it's your personal credit that's on the line. So it's very important. That's one of the differences between personal credit and business credit, is to distinguish yourself as a business. And
Yeah.
being incorporated separates you from your business, because your business now has its own separate identity. So that's the one thing about being incorporated, is separating you from your business. And as an accounting professional, no commingling of you and your business. Keep yourself separate. Keep your
You
credit
know,
separate
that
from the business.
that's a great point there, co-host, because, and I want to put this out there to all the small and micro businesses out there, because some of you you kind of conflate your personal credit with the business. So yeah, like the co-host said, it's important for you to separate the two. Here's another thing I want you guys to think about. When you go to the bank to open an account, or you do business with certain merchants, they will try to get your social security number to put that on the account. Guys, do not allow that to happen. I repeat, do not give them your social. You have an EIN for your business, you give them that EIN number, because otherwise everything they do is going to go towards your personal and not towards your business credit. So you won't be building business credit, you'll be building your personal, and anything that goes wrong, then they try anything that goes wrong on your personal credit, like you didn't pay your cable bill or something like that, then all of a sudden that reflects on your business. And most of what I'm telling you guys is from personal experience. I remember, and co-host, you and I talked about this before.
Mhm.
I have a situation with my student loan, which I already paid it off, but they keep telling me I owe them money, so they put it on my credit report. so
50 years later, you're still
but
planning
yeah,
on a
yeah,
degree that probably is not relevant any longer.
exactly. 25 years later, they're still telling me I owe them money, right? So what I did, I said, hey, that's, you can't be mixing the business with my
Yes.
personal. So Citibank was the first one to say, whoops, I'm reducing your credit limit. I'm going, what? This is a business. You can't mix the business with the personal. They say, I'm sorry, we don't care, because this account. So that's what they do. They try to use your social security number versus your EIN. So I want to implore you guys, use your EIN number for everything you do. If you go to the bank, open an account, and they try to put your social, you go to another bank, because that's what they've done, man. I even tried buying a car using my EIN. They go, we got to put the social on that. No. That's not how it works. So even if you have a corporation or an LLC, they try to do that for you because you're a small business. So keep that in mind, guys.
And sometimes that's us too, right? It's an ego thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's us working in our business, not on our business, right?
Yes.
We have a hard time making that separation from being a business owner, running a business, versus being the worker bee in the business.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
if you're still the worker bee, then the business, you're the employee in the
Yeah.
business, not the CEO of the business. Right? So
And
that
don't hesitate. If you go to a bank to open an account for your business and they're trying to put your social in there, don't hesitate to walk away, man, because the bank is not more powerful than you. Just remember this. You're putting your money in their institution, and they're taking your money without your permission, and they're investing it into other ventures. So they're using your money to invest in other stuff and telling you, well, we've got these requirements you got to go through so we can use your money against you. It's like, no. You walk away, guys. Go to another bank who's not going to use your social and will use your EIN number.
Right. Exactly. So very, very important understanding, learning how to make your money work for you. And the other component of this is what Greg does, is your personal financial management of your money, right? Understanding how, as you're making your money, to protect the risk management piece of this.
Yep.
So Greg, take it away. Risk management.
Well, that's an important topic of managing risk, because there's always a risk of something happening, right? That risk doesn't change. It's just that you're able to transfer that risk to somebody else. And generally for pennies on the dollar, because an insurance company, what they do is they take all those risks from everybody in your category, pull it all together. And so you're paying pennies on the dollar against something that might happen. It may not, but if it does happen, then you're able to get it fixed. I mean, with auto insurance, it's the same thing. Life insurance, any type of insurance, you're betting against it not happening, but you're paying a fee and pennies on the dollar to make sure that if something does, then that insurance company can help alleviate or pay it in total. Right. So that's a big piece of what insurance does. So that was on the personal financial, then having securing things. One of the interesting insurance coverages that is fairly new, but is important, is cyber insurance,
Yes.
computer
Mm,
insurance. So
mm,
if you are, let's say you've got personal business and you're managing, you've got transactions, you're collecting people's information, their social security or the date of birth or what have you, and that's sitting on your computer, and you get hacked because of some link you clicked on or some place you were shopping, and you get hacked. Now, if they intercept your client's information, who's responsible for that? Well, you've got some responsibility for that because you didn't have the proper safeguards there. So there's
Exactly.
insurance that you can get that will help insulate or pay for the recovery, or
Hmm.
if you've got to have a professional come in and go into the guts of your computer and find the malware and clear it out. There's a cost to that, and so
Yeah.
you can have coverage for that, or you can bear the expense on yourself. So that's a new, sort of fairly new form of insurance that is available. Is
And you know what, Greg? And this month I got my AARP newsletter,
Oh,
and which they sent to me when I was 50. But when I turned 50, that was my birthday present.
your
But
birthday.
but one of the things that they talked about this month was it's tax season, and your information is at the privy of everybody during
Yeah.
tax season.
Yeah.
Everybody's there, and there's even a commercial online.
Hmm.
Your tax ID number is there. Of course, your social security number, your date of birth is available. You're going
Yeah.
to a tax person. It may not be. You could be going to an HR Block. You could be going to Jason Hewitt. You could be going to a Vita, right? So,
Yeah.
you're assuming these people are all regulated, but your
Yeah.
papers could be laying out. Anybody could be lurking around. And then the other thing I have learned with and Gilbert, we had Candace on for Generation Connect, right? And
Yeah.
that seniors are like they're like a melting pot for scammers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get
They target them strongly, man.
right. They
Oh, yeah.
they
Hmm.
come on your phone, give us a call. I got a call the other day or a text saying from Wells Fargo saying we have someone at Walmart trying to access your account. I don't even have a Wells Fargo account.
That is so true,
I have
man.
had 3 of those texts today. One from your PayPal account has been compromised.
Yep.
Your Amazon account has been compromised. Your whatever has been, I just delete them and keep going on. But of course, some people who are not tech savvy are not aware of that, and they just start clicking buttons.
The
They're
next
getting very crafty now. I've gotten a couple of, I looked at it, says, whoa, this is pretty good. I mean, if you look carefully, there may be spelling errors in there, or
Yeah.
Right.
but they're getting much better now. The logos or what have you. So if I get one for PayPal, I now, instead of deleting it, I forward it
Mm.
to an address that's called phishing, which is ph
Yeah. Yeah.
at paypal.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get one from Best Buy. So I forward it to phishing at paypal.com or phishing at bestbuy.com for them to go after these guys or
Right.
gals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually started AT&T used to have one of those what do you call them where your call where they can a call blocker,
Yeah.
but they just discontinued it. So I've been getting all of these calls, and I'm thinking, what the heck happened to my call blocker? So I had to go get another one and add it on. So because I just couldn't figure out why all of a sudden I was getting all these. I had somebody call me yesterday going, "Hey, I can get you a unsecured loan." Yes, this was
Oh
yesterday,
Lord.
and I said, and I'm going to do that to somebody that just called me just randomly, willy nilly on the phone. No, thank you. Well, you should give me a chance. Yeah, right, buddy. Click.
The good news on that front is that last year they did intercept that big ring that was doing the vehicle warranty. So
Yes.
Yes.
stopped.
Huh?
Those calls have stopped. I haven't gotten one in a long
They have
time.
stopped. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
They
That's
finally
true.
got, because it was so outrageous, it was so pervasive.
They
Right.
would call me 5 times a day on that
Right,
warranty. I
exactly.
Yeah,
said, dude, I don't even have a car. Why are you trying to sell me warranty?
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And see, and that's your personal credit. So if you're not going to check on your personal credit, all kinds of havoc can be being
Yeah.
people are doing all kinds of crazy things right
So
about
Right.
now.
they're filing a tax return on your behalf to get the refund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now
And
that
then you gotta
won't
prove
work with
who
me.
you are. you gotta prove who you are.
You'll be out of luck with me. In fact, go hack in there and pay some of that tax.
What do you mean? What do you mean my name is not Crystal Mitchell? I am Crystal Mitchell.
No, you're not. There's another Crystal Mitchell. No, there is not another. Yeah, there is. Like, oh, okay. Now that only works if you are actually got the worst credit on the planet and you're running from the law. Yeah, take that identity.
I haven't seen a federal tax refund in, oh my gosh, probably 20 years or so.
Right, exactly.
That means you pay. People will say they'll use it as savings. That's another thing, that they'll use it as savings. I said, well, do you know what you're doing? You're paying the government too much money, so they're taking your money, sitting on it, and you're not earning any interest, and then they're
Yeah,
returning it to you without interest. So it's a
exactly.
lot of people, they see it as forced savings, but
Yeah,
you're just loaning the government money interest free.
yeah,
Exactly. Again, not understanding financial literacy. So some of the things that's so important, guys, is obtaining financial literacy is one of the most important things individually can do that can prolong your financial stability, which is really important in this world today. Because most Americans, about 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck. We know
That's
that.
a statistic, isn't it? I saw that recently. It's astounding. More than
Isn't it?
3/4.
3/4 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
that is
And
crazy.
there was another segment of that. I think 40% of those making over 100,000,
Yes,
Wow,
paycheck to paycheck.
paycheck to paycheck.
wow.
Because it's so costly to live that and everyone is really one paycheck away from being put in the street. if you're especially if you don't own your own home and you're living if you're renting and you miss a paycheck and you can't afford to be 2 months behind in rent, at $2,500, that's $5,000, right? And you're
Yeah,
not making that kind of money, so that's ridiculous.
that's
And the
crazy.
other astounding a fact was 189 million people own credit cards, and an average of them student debt. This was the one that was just like mind blowing. $1.5 trillion or more of 44 million are borrowers but are in debt, student loan debt.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous right
You know,
there.
I want to take this opportunity, co-host, to make a public service announcement, and I want them to charge me and accuse me of what they call that, defaming their character or
Who?
false information, because I can't wait to get in court with them. The student loan company called Navient, guys. Navient, Navient. They're criminals. They send you these false bills and you don't owe anything. They just got sued by the state of California, the attorney general of the state of California, and they're supposed to pay over 76 billion back to the students. They have not paid a cent yet, but they're still charging us late fees.
Wow. You know, this is something I heard. Now, this is interesting. So I read yesterday that a guy had won the lottery. So you think if you won the lottery, you are just home free, right?
Yeah.
In Chicago, this guy won the lottery. And for 5 years, he's been trying to get his money.
Wow.
And at first, they had not passed the budget.
Yeah.
So he had not been able to get his money. So he's been
Wow.
tied up in court for 5 years trying to get his money.
And then the student loan people, they probably have a lien on that too.
I went, oh my God. I was like, oh, you poor man, poor man. so he done ate up all of the money he won in legal fees, right? So by the time he does get his money, he ain't gonna have not one solitary dime. He would have not, he will not have benefited from his money at all.
He probably went out and buy a home, buy a car.
Nothing. He hasn't got one dime. Not one dime.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at this poor man, man. But
You are.
it's ridiculous, man.
Well, it's interesting when you talk about credit card debt. So credit card, I say the credit card is stuff that you bought stuff that you couldn't afford and you bought it anyway.
Yeah.
It's interesting, before credit cards, in order to get something, you had to have the money. If you bought an expensive car, if you bought a Cadillac or whatever it was, you had to have the money.
Yeah.
Now with credit, you don't have to have the money. So it allows people to go out and spend and show off. I've got, this. And then, back in the day, people would brag about how much they spent.
Yeah.
It showed that you had the money. In order to buy something, you had to have the money. So they bragged about how much they spent. Now folks brag about how much they saved.
Yeah.
I bought a $150,000 car, but I only paid $115,000.
Right, exactly. Yeah, credit card. I have a credit card for emergency purposes for travel, but for me, it never made sense to use credit cards for eating out, because before you got home or before you paid the bill, you no longer had the food and gas. Before the month was out, before you paid the bill, you already rented out your car. So those are the things I pay cash for, because it really makes no sense to pay credit on and pay on credit, because you're going to pay it. Even if you pay the bill at the end of the month, you've already run out the gas, right?
Right.
Unless you're traveling.
These are good now to still put on credit card, because the difference between credit and debit card is dispute resolution. When you put something on a credit card, you have some leverage in disputing the charge.
Well, that's why I use it for travel.
When you put it on debit card, that money's already out of your account. It's gone.
That's true.
So your leverage to dispute a charge, if you didn't receive something, if somebody was supposed to perform or send it in the mail or whatever, once you hit a dispute, now the credit card company is refusing payment to the merchant.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is true.
The onus is on the merchant to prove that, yes, you did do that, or I did send it, or it was delivered.
Yeah.
If it's on a debit card, the merchants already have their money.
Oh, that's real money right there. They don't have to wait for anything.
They don't have to.
Right. Exactly. You don't have this. Who has more leverage? You or their
right, exactly. and you have, and I have to say this to people as well. You need to be real careful about using your Cash App kind of cards as well, because one, like, I think, is it Zelle or one of those other cards where
I think it's Zelle.
Yeah, you have to be real careful with those. I prefer to use PayPal, because PayPal is because you can dispute it with PayPal.
Yeah.
But personally, QuickBooks and using that system, where one is an invoice. If you're in business, you really should be invoicing.
Right.
That's the very first thing you should be doing, because you need to be setting up your accounts payable and your accounts receivables so that you can keep track of that. That's the first thing, because that really matters when you're applying for loans and so forth, because your accounts receivable is just like money, but you have to be able to accounts receivable report to show that to a banker in the underwriting department. But when you're using your Zelles and those kind of transit type of reporting, and I think it was Zelle that, they could just pull the money out of your account. They were doing all kinds of crazy things. I think was it Zelle? I don't remember.
It was Zelle.
Yeah. So I don't use those kind.
A lot of the young people, they use Zelle because I don't think they understand the accountability part of it, Crystal.
Yeah.
So they're happy because many young entrepreneurs, they don't want to put the work in. They don't want to do the invoice. They don't want to do all of that. But the invoice is really great record keeping for you. and your accountant or your CPA, or even the IRS, you can,
Right.
refer back to your invoices. But yeah, Zelle, they don't really do the invoice thing, but the QuickBooks and PayPal, they call me an old folk because I use PayPal. I don't care.
I use my PayPal because I can always dispute back with
Exactly.
PayPal.
You have some dispute resolution with Zelle.
Yeah,
You get a warning on Zelle. It says,
yeah,
do you know? Make sure you know this person.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Because you can send it out there and it can go off to Zululand and Venmo. Other people can see the money that you're sending. Why is other people seeing who I'm sending money to?
Yeah.
No, nobody needs to know where I'm sending money
There
to.
there is a setting where you can hide that, but I think the default is
Oh,
it shows stuff. So you have to
oh,
know.
Yeah,
You can turn it off.
no.
But I only use Zelle to. I use Zelle because sometimes my wife needs money, so I'm putting it in her account.
yeah.
Now I'll use Cash App, like with me and my sister. We go back and forth. I have a little bit of
Yeah.
money in a Cash App, and it's just like family. Like we
Right.
send money
You're
back
with
and forth.
friends and you split. Somebody's picking because a lot of
Ye-
it's interesting now. A lot of restaurants aren't splitting bills,
Right,
Right.
so they just
Right.
want one charge.
Yeah.
right.
And then it's amongst everyone that's seated to kind of split that up and
Yeah.
sell each other the money. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But I wouldn't use Val to pay any merchants or anything like that. No.
And for business, you really want you're a business, so use business tools. It's important to use business tools because when it comes down
BIDNEGH business.
business, yeah, no
Business.
business. Track
Hey,
it, man, track it.
hey, Mama Cheesecake said that a mother was told that her grandson was in trouble. So she got, worried and said, "Hey, what the heck is going on?" So they told her that, she said, "My money was in the bank," because I guess they were trying to, get her to pay money for
Uh-huh.
the grandson.
Hmm.
So they said, "Okay, you send the money and we'll send you a car." So I don't understand. I
Well,
don't
they'll send
understand.
the car to take her to the bank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's in a car to
My
take
money's
you
in
to
the
the
bank.
bank.
No,
Oh,
we'll send the
No
car to get
problem.
you
We'll
to the
send
bank.
it to the
oh,
bank.
okay, okay. I
Yeah.
get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
no, you ain't gonna send no car to take me to the bank. The
That's
convenience, Gilbert, the convenience.
the
They'll
convenience.
conveniently take you to the bank so you can go get the money.
Yeah,
Or
I
if you're,
see.
or if
I
you're
see.
selling something for $500,
Yeah.
they'll send you now a check for $1,500.
Oh Lord.
All right. And then and then so you deposit that 1,500 and they said, well, wait a minute, we sent you too much. Now send us a check for 1,000.
Yeah.
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 But that 1,500 doesn't clear.
It doesn't
Right,
exist.
right,
Right. It's on the
exactly.
account that doesn't, or they'll spoof a company's check. So they'll get a business check and then they'll replicate it and start creating new payees, but they're
Yeah.
using the same check number. So they're using that
Oh,
same check number multiple times. So
wow.
obviously, by the time it gets to their bank, it kicks back.
Yes.
In the meantime, you've written that refund check to the person, a
Oh
legitimate
Lord.
check, and then now they have so scams have gotten very, very
Yeah,
crafty.
and the reason why that because that's that rich when you have the rich mindset versus the poor mindset, right?
Yes.
Poor mindsets think in short terms, right?
Yeah.
So that quick turnover,
Yeah.
right? So that's
Yeah.
why you fall for that, right? You
Yeah.
don't stop to think about it. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? I'm gonna get money in hours or minutes, right? Whereas, rich people know that investments take time for
Yeah.
them to turn over.
Yeah.
But that's why poor people are easier to scam
Get
Mhm.
rich
because
quick. Yep. Hmm.
they want to get rich quick, fast, in a hurry, and
Yeah.
not knowing that it takes money to make money and it takes time for that to happen. So
Yeah.
that's the difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset.
Exactly.
And that's why they always get taken advantage of because it's going to happen. If it's too good to be true, it's
Yeah.
too good to be true. That's what my mama used to tell me.
Yeah.
So there are benefits of financial literacy, you ability to make better financial decisions, effective management of your money, greater equipped to reach your financial goals, reduction of expenses. Because I will tell you, if you have poor management skills, you are
Mhm.
going to spend more money
Yeah. Yeah.
every time,
You're gonna
every
be at a
time.
you're gonna be at a you're gonna be at a deficit at all time.
At all times. It will cost you more money while you trying to save money
Yeah.
because you trying to save money by being cheap. It
Yes.
also requires less financial stress and anxiety if you know and understand money.
Yeah.
And finally, um, oops, no, one more. Go back one more. Uh, um, the other benefits is it increases your ethical decision making when you're selecting insurance and loans and investments and using your credit cards. You just don't do dumb things with credit cards.
Right.
And you don't make dumb decisions when you're out, when someone comes to you and they're giving you an opportunity to purchase insurance that will take care of you and your family.
And co-host, speaking on the credit card thing,
Mhm.
we all got to pay attention to those credit card bills and all those letters they send every month, because they send those letters thinking we're going to throw it in the garbage and we won't look at it. But what they're telling us in those letters is, when you first sign up for this credit card, it was at 8.25%, but a month and a half later, your interest rate is at 27%.
Mhm.
So you got to look at that, because if you don't pay attention to that when you pay your bill, let's say you pay $100, 27% of that is going towards interest.
Yeah, it's interesting. That was the Credit Card Act of 2009. So it's not that recent where credit card companies had to disclose or have to disclose late fees, interest rates, and the impact of making minimum payments.
Yes.
Right.
And minimum payments can take anywhere from 27 to 33 years to pay off.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You could be in debt to the day you die. In fact, you will take that debt. They can actually roll up all your credit card statements and put it in the casket with you, because you gonna take it to your death with you. You gonna still when you go
so
to your death.
so so not only does your family have to pay the cost of the funeral, but now the credit card bill is attached to that debt too.
Is attached to the debt because you've taken it with you forever. And here's another thing you have to be careful of. And this one is really big. When people come to you saying that they can fix your credit,
Oh yeah.
this is huge.
Oh
People
yeah.
come to you and say, "Oh, we can consolidate your credit. You pay us X amount of
Yeah.
dollars,
Yeah.
right? And we will disperse this out over all of your credit card debt."
Yeah.
And then you go, "But where?" And I've seen this. I've
Yeah.
seen this because I have seen a lot of stuff in the accounting bookkeeping world. Trust me, people. And you go, "But how did they do that?" So do not fall for everything. If it's not clear cut, there is no fast ways to do that, right?
Yes.
Unless you're going to a reputable or you're going to a bank to get a bank consolidation loan,
Yeah.
then you really want to know you are absorbing it and then we're going to get one payment. But don't just keep taking loans to take care of another debt. You don't take one loan to take care of another
Right.
debt.
Right.
Just pay off that one, but you might have to make some sacrifices to do that. That's just the way it is.
Well, there could be a
Um,
strategy to do that. I mean, so let's say if let's say you had a home equity line of credit and
right.
you're at 5.5%, and you've got credit card debt at 22 or 23%.
Yeah,
That
that
would make
could.
sense
Yeah,
to
that would. Yes.
to consolidate some of that, get a loan at a much lower rate, especially now
Yeah.
Yes.
rates are going up, because last year the average credit card rate was around 16%. In just 1 year, it's gone from 16 to 21.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right. Right.
Yes.
Right. 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 Right.
See,
That makes sense. But reputable people, reputable loan people.
See, that's another catch right there too, because some of the credit card companies that you use say, "Hey, I can consolidate your debt over here. I'll give you, 8 or 12%," and you think you're gonna get 8 or 12% for the life of that money, But next year they're gonna jack it up to 27%. So it's like, why did I even switch over to these people in the first place?
0% credit.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I had a client that was actually she was pretty savvy with this, but they had the 0% credit for 12 or 18 months. So
Yeah,
she would max out. She got as many as she could,
yeah.
and she bought property.
Oh,
Then
that's a good strategy.
when it became due, she'd pay that off and then get the next one. And she did that about 4 or 5 years, just to get going. And she bought some rental property
Wow.
using
Okay,
that methodology.
but it generated
She
revenue though,
had a
right?
plan. She wasn't just buying shoes. She had a plan. She was buying something that was going to appreciate.
Yes,
And,
She was
and
yes.
buying
generate
it
some
for.
revenue, right? And generate some revenue that could help her with that.
Yep.
Yeah, so that made sense.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a good.
Robert Kiyosaki. It's not how much you make, but it's how much you keep.
And
Yes, that's
how
true.
hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for.
That's true. That is true, man.
So number 3, the benefit, it gives you choices. Financial literacy allows you better choices and options.
Yep, yep,
Gives you options,
yeah.
and you don't have to just fall for whatever. Just try to make it happen. So that is what it does for you. Now, there are some tools that I am all about the tools. So some of the greatest tools that I have found out there is Intuit. Anything that Intuit does for me works because they are absolutely fantastic. So they have a product called Mint. It is a budget and bill tracker. Awesome product. Rocket Money. It actually helps you take full control of subscriptions that
Oh,
you
I've
have.
seen that on TV.
Yeah, I use Rocket, and you actually can use them to unsubscribe. They will go in and cancel subscriptions that you have, and then make sure that they stop it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that because we sign up for stuff, forget that we have them,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the okey doke is on the cutting the cable, cutting the cord, and
Yeah,
Hulu and all that. And I think Hulu at one point in time was $9.99.
right, exactly. Now it's
Right.
yeah, now it's ridiculous, and you got all of the little subscriptions in between.
Yeah, right. Because now you have Hulu. You got to have
Hulu Plus.
Disney Plus, and all these. So when you add those up, and then you
Yeah.
look at it per month, it's like, okay, but now multiply that by 12.
Yeah, exactly.
You paying more than you were paying for your DirecTV or your satellite, whatever you were paying for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your Rocket Money actually takes control over that. You can actually see how much money you're spending, and if you see that you've got some subscriptions, I actually start using it and found out that there were some subscriptions that I had been paying for, and I forgot that I had them, and
Yeah.
so I used them to unsubscribe. Expensify, it actually tracks your receipts, and if you're working for a company that you submit expense reports, it is a Expensify. So it will do a simple spin report, and you actually can submit your expense report and get refunded.
Okay.
Oh, I'd
Yeah.
like to check that one
Yeah.
out. It's called Expensify,
Yeah.
and
And
it's an app, right?
it's an app. Stash. I use Stash for it's an investment app for beginners, and it actually, if you spend and reinvest the change, like and if you use the card, I have a card, so if you spend it with some of the like I think I spent my card with Delta, and so whatever change, it reinvests it back and buys the stock, and so now I have stock in some of the companies that I've spent the card on. And I use a savings. I use it as a saving plan as well, and it reinvests back into certain
We used to call money in the shoebox stash.
Yeah, stash. Robinhood is a commission-free stock trading and investment app. So if you just want to kind of get your feet wet, and you're not real sure about that whole stock stuff, it has a great interface, and it's really simple and easy. You can just invest a few dollars, and it doesn't have a limit. You don't have to have hundreds of dollars. You can invest $5, $10, $20, and then you can monitor it. And Quicken,
I
a Greg
remember, I
favorite.
remember, I remember Quicking. That's how QuickBooks was formed, right? Through
That
Quicking.
was the original
Same company, yeah,
QuickBooks.
Quicken and QuickBooks, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Quicken, but
Be
Quicken has
divorced.
always been the personal finance tracker. So these are very important for you can to see exactly where your money is going. You can better track it if you have an idea where it's going. So these are personal financial tools. I didn't do business because I would, I'll do a class later on what the businesses are. But this one is for you for your personal tracking, which is very much important and just as important as tracking your business expenses as well. Because money can come really fast, come in and go out really quickly, and you should be tracking that as well. Yes, Greg.
There's another one to add to the list, Simplify. And
Ah,
Oh, what
Simplify
does?
is made by Quicken. And
oh, okay.
Oh,
so it is a simpler version of Quicken. It has a different type of interface, less accounting oriented. Because Quicken, for those who are like under 40, it just
Mm,
it doesn't, the interface is just it loses them. Where
okay.
Simplify is in that graphical kind of interface where you're entering things, one, two, two or one thing at a time on a page and answering questions versus having more of a spreadsheet or a ledger type. For some reason, they don't process that. So Simplify is a simpler version of Quicken, and it's very good. And I've been recommending that to my clients.
Okay. So
And
this is how you manage your money, right? Yeah. So it works. I mean, and it's for you, Greg, especially because people I'm sure are always telling you, I can't afford insurance. Yeah, right. Why don't you go track it? Find out how you are really spending your money. And then once you get Rocket Money, and let's find out how you can eliminate some of those subscriptions, and what you save, you can then buy some insurance or put your money in an annuity. How
we
about
call that
that?
finding the money.
Finding the
Finding the
money.
money, right? So I'll tell this quick story. It was a woman came and she said, "I don't have any money to, invest or like that." And so we met and she comes and she has her Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it wasn't just a regular coffee. It was some chai, frappy, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, "Oh, that's a really interesting, cute looking drink. What did that cost?" And it's $4.85.
Ah.
And she said, "No." She said, "I have it at the beginning of the day, the end of the day." I
Oh,
said, "Really?" So,
that's $8 a day.
huh?
$8 a day.
No, close to a little more than 9,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Birthday 9. So I said, "Well, and I do it every day, right?" So we multiplied it out, and it was something like $280 a month that she was spending on this frappy latte, whatever it was. So
wow.
can you cut it in half?
Wow.
Instead of just doing 2 a day, do 1. That freed up $140.
Wow.
Wow.
It's
So
unbelievable.
so if you analyze where the spending is, I'll say this: I've been changing the terminology instead of budget, because everybody hates budget. Like nobody,
Yeah.
it's like a diet. Like nobody likes a diet. Nobody likes,
Right. Exactly.
but it's becoming efficient with your money. So more of a
Yeah.
spending efficiency plan to
Right.
take a look and analyze those things so that you look at your subscriptions, you look at where your money's going. I know that we have not been using any of these food delivery things, Uber Eats or Post,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
that is.
They've gotten really expensive.
Yeah. And so there was one night, I think it was raining or something like that. And my wife and I, we were ready to, get something. And it turns out that I think it was $11.99 burrito was going to cost $35.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And guess what? We were thinking of doing it, right? So but we were trying to register, and it was like we were trying to use my throwaway debit card. It was like a prepaid. It didn't like that, so it was kicking that out. And I looked. I says, "You know what? I could have driven to the place and gotten it by now. So I just got the car, and so we don't use those food delivery. But just think of how many people are using these food deliveries, and the markup is gotten really outrageous on those on that item. I mean, to pay $35 for something that I can drive to the store and pay $11.99, and maybe I'm going to burn 75 cents worth of gas. But
Exactly. Exactly. So you got to do it. Now I have a client that she actually went back through all of her subscriptions because she realized, and this isn't her business, she realized that she runs a social media management company, and so she had a lot of subscriptions for some of the tools that she used. She eliminated so many of them because when I was doing her books, I didn't know what she was using and what she wasn't using, but she did, right? And so once she found out what she wasn't using, she was able to hire 3 employees on what she eliminated. And then she was able to take even what was left over from that, and she was able to start her emergency fund. So just go figure. So that's what she has done. She managed to be able to shut all that down. So that's basically what financial literacy will do for you, people. It will help you
In a
reallocate
nutshell.
money. Right? I'll reallocate your money.
That's
So
right.
that is our show today. And
Mhm.
and as Robert Kiyosaki says, it's not how much money you make, it's how you keep that money.
That's right.
That's how
And
we gonna
one way to keep that money is not to give the IRS your money up front. You wait until the end of the tax year and you file your taxes, then you pay. Don't put all your excess money in their fund so they can invest that and make interest on it and you don't get anything.
exactly. So we're gonna end the show today with a message from T. Harvey Edgar. He says the simple biggest difference between financial success and financial failure is how well you manage your money. Is simple. To master money, you must manage the money.
Mm-mm-mm.
And that is how we're ending the show
Couldn't have
today.
said it any better.
So next week, I'm not quite sure who we have. I have someone that I'm waiting for a response back, but we should have a guest next week. And
And our field correspondent will be back next week.
yeah, so Greg, we do want to thank you for joining on this great month. This is your month.
Sharing your wisdoms of nuggets with us.
And everyone should follow Greg on his Facebook page. Greg, you want to tell him? Because Greg has been offering up some financial tips every day. Is it every day you do it?
yeah, Monday to Friday.
Monday through Friday, he's at giving you some financial wisdom and tips. You also can find Greg every Thursday with me on the community briefing. He is the MC. He's also one of the partners with the community briefing, but he does our MCing there. So he has some MCing duties over there. And Gilbert, anything happening with you over the week? Other than your regular stuffices?
Well, this coming Wednesday, I have a class that I'm teaching on certification, helping small businesses how to become certified. And this certification class is going to be on the Supplier Clearinghouse certification program. Now, I sent out the invitation, the flyer, to a lot of small businesses. I'm going to send it out again, maybe over the weekend or on Monday. But I want you guys to come to this workshop because, number one, I'm teaching the workshop on how to become certified. So you're getting some free tips from me, guys. You don't have to pay for this class, okay? You're getting free nuggets here. and secondly, I may start the certification application process online to show you guys how to do it. This is my secret. I never give this secret away, guys. I usually charge for that stuff. So if you guys get to show up and I do this online, woo-wee,
Limited time only. Limited time only.
Limited time only, guys. So, so just remember, all right, come on down.
All righty. And we have, this is that time of the year for me. We are starting our youth entrepreneur class. So, starting in June, we will be kicking off. I'm looking for the flyer right now. We will be starting the Youth Entrepreneur Biz Camp. It will be starting June 12th. So if you have a aspiring young entrepreneur at the age of 13 to 18, then you want to go register. Let me go find the flyer here. I'm trying to find my little flyer here so I can bring it on up. So great program for kids that don't cost them a dime. We actually pay those children to join us. So you can't get any better than that, to be paid to come to the program. How about that?
That's right.
Great program. Kids will learn a lot. Kids will learn how to become entrepreneurs. And we're excited again. So this program will be live this year. It's going to be held at a class at a school in Hawthorne, actually. And so we're excited. We have not been live for a minute. And so we're looking forward to that, I think. I hope. So there we go. Biz Camp. So you can go on over to the Urban League website and sign your aspiring entrepreneur. And it's going to be at the Da Vinci Schools in El Segundo. So first session is June 12th through June 30th. Second session is going to be July 10th to July 27th. So, or give me a call or email or text me. I will put my information in the chat and I will send you over the link. We also are looking for a young college students to be interns, and we are looking for them immediately. We are paying these interns, so we're looking for them between the ages of 21 and 25. We need interns like yesterday. We need an intern. We actually need 6 of them. So
Come on, interns, get you some free education here that you don't have to pay for.
Yeah, we actually will pay. We're going to pay you. We're not looking for free people. We're looking for we're looking for, this is a paid internship, and it is perfect because you can, as soon as you're done, you can head on back to college.
That's good.
Yeah. So there you go, and you'll be working with the kids, and it's a fun time. All right, guys.
All righty.
We're gonna head on out. This weekend, I'm going to be celebrating Miss Bonnie's birthday. She is turning 70 this week, and we're going to a yacht down in Newport Beach to celebrate.
A yacht. Look at you, co-host. Hey, Greg, you and I can't afford yachts. Look at that, my co-host. Man, I cannot believe this.
I'm not paying for the yacht. Her daughter is. I'm just a guest.
Yada yee yat. Don't talk back.
Right. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mama Cheesecake.
Thank you, Mr.
Fernando.
Greg.
And all our other guests that was on today.
And Oneida, thank you for checking in. She had to leave and go to a meeting. So
yeah.
Thank you for that. Mama Cheesecake, thank you guys. Oh, on in the chat, guys, I put an address and I put the date. There's a procurement event on April 27th. It's going to be in Pomona at the Pomona DoubleTree. You guys need to be there, guys. They're going to be talking about contract opportunities for all trades. So I put food services for Mama Cheesecake because that's there. And I know Fernando, I think, is in the digital world. So they got computer software, they got digital activity. So guys, you want to check it out. And if you need the flyer, send me an email. I'll send you the flyer. But you guys should check it out. And check out my workshop next Wednesday also, so I can get you guys certified. Okay?
All righty then. All right. Let's take us on out.
All righty. Let's see you next.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a business Yes, I'm an entrepreneur.